Hey guys, Nibbers here, and welcome to something a little bit different. I will be doing a Pokemon Sword and Shield Draft League, and I'd like to thank Itsock for getting me into this, because this is something I've been wanting to try out for a long time now. So, in a draft league, coaches have to draft 10 Pokemon to form a team. These Pokemon are ranked into different tiers based upon their relative strength, and coaches have a limited number of points to spend to draft those Pokemon. Pokemon in higher tiers will cost more points than those in lower tiers, and that's done so that weaker Pokemon can sort of get an opportunity to shine, and so that teams aren't like super strong and imbalanced. So it's a season. Coaches will take turns playing each other over, I think it's 11 weeks. So each week you challenge a different coach, and you must choose from those 10 Pokemon that you drafted, 6 of them to form a standard team. And at the end of the season, the teams with the best records will move on to the playoffs. I believe we have 16 teams, maybe more. I don't know how many teams we have in this league. It's a big number though, so it should be interesting. As for the battle rules themselves, it's mostly standard Smogon clauses, so like no evasion shenanigans, no putting 2 Pokemon to sleep at the same time. We are allowed to use Baton Pass, but it has to be a dry pass, so no passing stats or anything. So in Sword and Shield, one of the new mechanics is Dynamaxing. And the thing about Dynamaxing is it's completely broken. So in order to balance the league out, we are making it so that only Pokemon that are tier 3 and below can be a Dynamax captain. So first of all, there's a Dynamax captain, and only it is allowed to Dynamax on your team. We'll get to what mine is later, but that Pokemon has to be from tier 3 or below. So it'll be one of the weaker pokes that are able to Dynamax. That Pokemon, even if it doesn't Dynamax, is never allowed to hold a Choice Scarf or a Life Orb. And you also absolutely positively have to Dynamax it the first turn it takes. Otherwise, you're not allowed to Dynamax. You forfeit your right to do that the entire battle. So let's get right into it. This is my team. I'm joining the PCL. This is a completely. This isn't a new league or anything. This is an established league that I was invited to join thanks to Sock. So another shout out for him for getting me into this. I did not participate in the draft. So what I'm doing is I'm taking over for another person who drafted but wasn't able to participate in the season. So I'm a little bit bummed about that, because drafting is a really fun part of the team. Sort of, it's a really fun part of the league, and I'm going to miss out on that. So it's a little sad, but maybe next season I'll get to do a draft of my own. And yeah. So first of all, my team is the Penn State Nittany Linoones. I went to Penn State, for those of you who don't know. Good college. Highly recommend it. Great culture. So we're going to go with our first pick here. Again, not my pick, but a good pick. This was a Mew. Now, legendaries are allowed, but not every legendary is allowed to be drafted. But Mew is one of the ones that is. And it is a very good Pokemon. It is actually in the S tier, which is above tier 1. You don't get one of these for free, and there are very few S tier pokes. Not enough for everyone, even. So I'm glad that I got an S tier, because those are always fun to play with. Mew is a really strong Pokemon. Good typing with Psychic. But the great thing about it is its stats. It's 100 in every stat, base 100. That is really tanky, and it hits pretty good too. So this thing can be pretty much anything because Mew has the stats to do anything, and it also has the move pool to do anything because this thing gets like every move in the game. I mean, it doesn't actually get every move in the game, but it gets just about every move in the game. So it can do anything. It can sweep. It can do crazy status shenanigans. It can put up hazards. It could just be whatever I want it to be, and it's a difficult Pokemon to prep for because you never know what it's gonna do. So that was my first pick. My next pick is Mandabuzz. Mandabuzz is a pretty awesome Pokemon. It's a dark flying, so that's a bit of a dark resist, which is one of the things that Mew's weak to. It's got 110 HP, 105 defense, 95 special defense. This thing is a flying tank. It's got resistance or immunities to ground and psychic, which is awesome. Again, it's got that dark resist, which we needed. Can do a lot of things. It's mostly a sort of utility Pokemon. It can use Tailwind to boost everyone's speed. It's got Knockoff. It's got Whirlwind for craziness involving hazards. It's got Defog to remove hazards. And it's just got a whole bunch of things. It's got U-Turn for momentum. Could Toxic Stall with Toxic and Roost. It's got Foul Play for anything that hits super hard. It's just all around a great Pokemon to use. So I'm really happy to have that. Next up, we have Vaporeon. Vaporeon got a bit of a nerf in this generation. It's a second tier 2. Mandabuzz was the first tier 2 that we picked, but with our points, we're going to get a Vaporeon as well. This thing has Water Absorb, which in this generation, there's a Pokemon called, what is it? Dracovish. That thing is the nastiest Pokemon in existence. It basically just one-shots anything with Vicious Rend. So you sort of need a Pokemon that can come in on Vicious Rend. And Vaporeon's going to be that Pokemon for me. It's got Water Absorb, so any water type attack used against me, it just gives me health. Gives me free HP. So this generation, I mean, it didn't get the best move pool in the game. It lost Toxic, and I think there's like another couple of moves it lost. So kind of sad about that, but it's still a beast. It's got Yawn, it's got Wish, it's got Baton Pass for dry passing. Offensively, I can Surf, I can Hydro Pump, I can Ice Beam. It's even got Shadow Ball. I can do some shenanigans with Rest and Hydration, which is another one of its abilities. Overall, pretty solid Pokemon. Incredible special wall. Even a physical wall, too. Like 130 HP. Like, this is a tanky team already. And it just got even tankier with Vaporeon. So I'm super, super happy with that. So next up, we've got Rotom Heat. This is an oven. It is one of the sillier new Pokemon. Actually, it's not very new. It's a Gen 4 Pokemon, I think. Yeah. So it's a ghost that is inhabiting an oven. It's haunting an oven. It's pretty awesome. So this thing is an electric fire type, which is a really cool typing. It's got a quad weakness to ground, but its ability is levitate, so it doesn't have to worry about that ground weakness. Great stats, very strong defensively, but also pretty good offensively as well. Again, it's got great typing. It can do a lot of crazy stuff. It's got Discharge. It's a good Volt Switcher. It's got good status with Will-O-Wisp and Thunderwave, so I can paralyze people. I can also burn people, and I can use Hex to punish them for being burnt or paralyzed. And it's also got Nasty Plot for, boosting my special attack. So I might go on a sweep with this thing sometime. Or, I could just Volt Switch out into something more appropriate to the opponent's typing. And it's also got Trick, which is fun for shenanigans. So I'm pretty happy with this. It's a good pivot. Next up, oh, it used to have defog in previous generations. It does not have it in this gen. Same with Pain Split. So I'm a little bit sad about that, but it's not the biggest of deals. Next up, we've got Pacinian. This is a pretty fun Pokemon. It's got really strong attack. 120 attack, 90 defense, 100 HP. It's pretty tanky. It can come in, take a hit, and then give a big hit in return. So I'm pretty psyched about that. 80 speed. It's not horrible, but it's still pretty good. It's got a great move pool as well. Earthquake, Rock Slide. It's got Close Combat, Gunk Shot, Seed Bomb. It also has Acrobatics, Drain Punch. I can do some crazy things with it. U-Turn's pretty good. Knockoff. I don't know if I said that already, but that's a great move to have. This thing is a great pivot and just an all-around good hard-hitting poke. So I'm really happy to have that with my 5th pick. That was a tier 4. Rotom Heat was tier 3. And next up we have Roselia at tier 5. This thing, it's a pre-evolution, so I don't have a Roserade, but I do get to use a Violite on this to make up for its weak defense and special defense. Its special defense isn't too bad, but its HP is pretty low. Its speed's pretty low as well, but its special attack isn't anything to take lightly. This thing is great for 2 reasons: spikes and toxic spikes. This thing can set up some great hazards for me in the form of spikes and toxic spikes. It's also a pretty good special attacker, so I can use things like Giga Drain, Venoshock, Sludge Bomb. It even gets Dazzling Gleam. Oh, that's pretty good. And Extra Sensory. And in addition to that, it's got some good status moves. Sleep Powder. Pretty sure it learns Toxic as well. Yes, it does. There it is. It's got Recovery and Synthesis. And it's got Status Removal and Aromatherapy. This is just... It's an all-around good Pokemon to have at a tier 5 price. So I'm very psyched to have it. I'm going to do some nasty things with this thing. And next up, we have Steelix. Steelix is a great Pokemon to have. It is a massive defensive wall. It's got decent HP, decent attack, but its defense is 200. This thing is a monster. And it happens to be my Dynamax captain. I chose it because this thing gets amazing type coverage. It gets all 3 of the elemental fanged moves. It gets crunch, it gets rock moves, it gets ground moves, it gets steel moves. It gets dragon moves. What else does it get? It gets a psychic move. It gets a fighting move. It gets a psychic move. What the heck? So this thing has a lot of power to it. And the thing is, like, it was originally going to be a rock setter, but when you're Dynamax, you can't really set rocks. But as a Dynamax poke, I can sort of, live the Dynamax and then set rocks if I have to. Live the Dynamax. By that I mean, like, just have my Dynamax just stall out, maybe come in on my opponent's Dynamax, stall out, and then set rocks, and then just, go from there. So it's a pretty good pick. Great defensively. This is a pretty beefy defensive team. I'll be able to wear out my opponents, hopefully before the timer kills me. But it should be a lot of fun to have. Next up, we got Meowstic Male. So this was a bit of a misplay on my part. So again, this is not a team that I drafted, but I got to come in and I got a few free transactions, and one of them I traded was for Meowstic Male. So I thought this thing was going to get Prankster, because that's its hidden ability. And Prankster Meowstic Male is amazing. Unfortunately, it does not get Prankster. The hidden ability is not released. So I'm stuck with Infiltrator, which is still a great ability. And it's also got a great move pool and a fairly decent speed tier at 104. So it can do a lot of good things. We got Psychic. It can set Misty Terrain for me for some reason. It can set screens. It's got electric moves. It's got grass moves. It's got Psychic and Ghost and Dark. Heck, it's even got fairy moves. It's kind of funny. So yeah, there's a lot I can do with this. Oh, it can set status for me with Thunderwave. Can set Trick Room for me because I've got some good pokes to use in Trick Room. Steelix, Dynamax Steelix in Trick Room is amazing. Vaporeon as well. So that is Meowstic. Next up, we've got our very own mascot Pokemon. It is Galarian Linoone. This thing, despite being an unevolved form, is pretty freaking strong. 100 speed tier. It doesn't have the best stats other than that, but its attack is 70. It gets some pretty good moves as well. Let's see, where are we at here? It can Thunder Wave. It gets Shadow Claw, Stomping Tantrum, gets Ice Beam, it gets Thunderbolt. Wow, it gets Body Press, it gets Knockoff, and it gets Parting Shot, which is actually one of the reasons I really wanted it. Because Parting Shot it's a good way to get in another Pokemon and then use it to sort of to set up with it afterwards. So this could be a very tricksy Pokemon to deal with. Also, it's a great ghost immunity, which is something I kind of needed with a lot of ghost weaknesses on this team. And lastly, the 10th Pokemon that we have drafted is going to be Gyarados. This Pokemon is our tier 1. We waited to the end of the draft, apparently, to draft this thing. It's a really strong and scary Pokemon you gotta watch out for. 81 base speed, but that thing can get boosted with Dragon Dance pretty easily. It's got Moxie as a hidden ability. I think I can get that one. I hope I can get that one. What Moxie does is if you get a kill, you get plus 1 attack. So if you've already boosted your speed 1, you'll probably outspeed a lot of things. And then when you start getting attack boosts on top of that, and it starts out with 125 attack, which is amazing. So this thing, you got to watch out for it. You definitely have to respect it. Unfortunately, it's got a 4 times electric weakness, but we can deal with that. We've got Steelix and Rotom Heat to deal with that sort of thing. As for moves, it's got Hurricane, it's got Hydro Pump, it's got Waterfall, it's got, what else does it get? It gets Earthquake, it gets Crunch, it gets Power Whip now. Oh, that's new. Iron Head, Stone Edge, Scald if you're crazy. It gets Ice Beam and Thunderbolt. All sorts of crazy things. It gets Bounce, but I doubt I'll ever use that. I might. It's Flying Stab. It's worth using. But yeah, so that is the team. I'm really excited. We got our first match coming up real soon. The first battle will be posted. Oh, I'm going to get this wrong. I think I have to do it by the 4th and post it by the 11th of January. So we're going to have that first battle up on the 11th, I believe. And probably sometime in between the 4th and the 11th, we'll do a team builder. And that is where I'll discuss my opponent's team, how I prepped for it, and why I chose the pokes of these 10 that I chose against my opponent. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy this season of the PCL. I should probably have looked up what that stands for. Pokemon Championship League. I did look it up. I knew that. I just forgot in the moment when it mattered most. So thanks for watching and wish me luck for this season. I hope I don't embarrass myself too badly. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.